Hello, welcome to a beginner's yoga flow. So today we're going to go through some new moves to the other class, some similar, so you can get used to them. I would advise that you use a block and a strap, and if you've got any injuries, please let me know beforehand or consult with the doctor, just make sure it's okay for you to do it. Okay, so today we're going to begin by lying down on the back, allowing the feet to fall out to the side, allow the shoulders to relax, and then the hands relaxing, palm facing the ceiling. Closing the eyes. Breathing in and out through the nose. Just arriving on the mat. Arriving into this class. And you may be wondering what that means because you are here, you have arrived. But mentally, are you settled? Are you thinking about 100 different things? Or are you concentrating on what you're doing in this present moment? So that's one of the things we're going to focus on today. So carry on breathing in and out through the nose. And then we're going to start with the top of the body. So feeling the weight of the head against the mat. Noticing how the back of the head touches the floor, the ground. And then moving down the face, so just noticing if the eyes are relaxed, are you frowning in the eyebrows, or can you just allow the face to completely relax? Looking at the jaw, the lips, the tongue. Noticing as the air moves through the nose with each inhale and exhale. And then moving down through the neck into the shoulders. And again, just noticing now if the shoulders are relaxed or are you holding any tension. Noticing the back, again connecting with the floor, with the mat, the ground, the earth. How heavy the body feels against the floor. Checking in with the chest and the ribs, the stomach, the lower back. Noticing how the belly rises and falls again with each inhale and exhale. Noticing any anxieties that you may be holding in this part of the body. And taking one long inhale. Opening the mouth on the exhale and letting them anxieties go. Let's do this 2 more times. Inhaling through the nose. Filling up the chest, the lungs, the stomach, and then opening the mouth and on the exhale, letting them go. One more time, deep inhale. Opening the mouth, relaxing the shoulders, letting them anxieties go. And then moving down through the hips, the thighs, the glutes, feeling the earth underneath the backs of the legs. Allowing the knees to relax, the thighs, the calves. And then finally feeling the weight of the feet. And just noticing if you are holding any tensions here. And just allowing the feet to fall towards the ground. Allowing gravity to take hold here. And then coming back to the feeling of the breath. Noticing if the mind is busy with thoughts of other things. And just try with each exhale to let them thoughts disappear. Even if they reappear, practicing letting them go. In this present moment, you don't need thoughts clouding the brain, clouding the mind. You're just allowing yourself some time off from thinking. You're just allowing yourself to be. Just going to stay here for about a minute. Again, when the mind begins to wander, coming back to the breathing, the feeling of the earth underneath the body, how heavy the body feels, how great it feels to just find that grounding. How much we need to be present, even if it's just for this class, to give ourselves a break from thinking, constantly doing. And then slowly bringing the knees in towards the chest, keeping the eyes closed. Giving yourself a big hug. And then just rotating the spine. So small rolls on the back. Going in a clockwise motion first. And then changing direction. And then slowly begin to rock forward and back until you come into the seated position, lifting the crown of the head tall, rotating the shoulders back and down, and again finding that grounding in the sit bones. So you've got a nice straight spine. The shoulders are stacked over the hips, hands down onto the knees. Option here to keep the palms down on the knees if you want that grounding, or if you need some lifting, if you need some light, some energy, placing the palms towards the ceiling. And just again, finding that breath, keeping the eyes closed. And then slowly opening the eyes. We're going to take the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and then just taking the chin towards the chest, so pulling the shoulders back, chin towards the chest, keeping the spine straight. So even though the chin is tucked towards the chest, you still want that lifting up of the crown towards the ceiling. And we're just going to stay here for a few breaths. You should feel a small stretch in the back of the neck. Staying here for 2 more breaths. Really filling up the belly, the lungs, the back, and then exhale. Relaxing the shoulders. 1 more breath. Exhale. Taking the hands to the knees, we're going to keep the chin towards the chest. This time we're going to begin to rotate the head towards the right. So if you want to close the eyes here, you can close the eyes. But beginning to rotate the head. Now we want small movements. No rushing in this move. Just slowing down, feeling any stress, any tension in the neck. And if you do, just stay there for a few breaths, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Allowing the head to fall back, keeping the shoulders relaxed, opening up the throat. Moving down towards the left shoulder until the chin finally reaches the chest, and we're going to take a deep inhale through the nose and then sigh it out through the mouth. Deep inhale. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Rotating towards the left this time. Again, keeping them shoulders relaxed. It's really easy to create tension, especially if something feels uncomfortable. Remembering to breathe, the most important thing. then as the chin reaches the chest, one deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Inhale, gaze towards the front of the room. We're going to come into a twist now. So option to use a block here if you want to. If you can't quite reach the back without leaning towards the back, you can take a block here. We're going to begin by taking the left hand on the right knee, twisting towards the back. So even if you can only twist to here, that's absolutely fine. Twisting towards the back, keeping that crown reaching up towards the ceiling. Deep inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, begin to twist towards the back. 2 more breaths here. Inhale for 2. Exhale, twist. 1 more breath, deep inhale. Exhale, twist. And then inhale, come back to center. We're going to swap sides. So we're going to take that right hand onto the left knee. Again, you can use the block here if you want to. Deep inhale, lengthen the spine. And as you exhale, twist towards the left. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, twist. 1 more breath, deep inhale. Exhale, twist. And then inhale, coming back to center. We're going to come into a tabletop position now. So taking the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips. Now we did this pose, or 2 poses, in the last absolute beginners class. It's called cat-cow. So we're going to inhale, push the chest forward, reach the shoulders back, tailbone reaches up towards the ceiling, head reaches up. And as we exhale, press into the hands, tuck the chin towards the chest and the tailbone tucks under. Engaging the core here. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, cat pose, press into them hands. 4 more times. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 1 more. Exhale. And then inhale, coming back to that neutral position. We're going to come into our extended puppy pose now. So if you do need to use a block here, taking the block underneath the forehead, begin to walk or slide the hands to the front of the mat. The hips stay above the knees, allowing the head to relax down. If you don't need a block, that's fine. Taking the forehead to the floor, or if you have the flexibility, taking the chin towards the mat. We're going to stay here for 4 breaths. Deep inhale. And as you exhale, begin to press the armpits down towards the mat. This is a heart opener. Stretching the shoulders. Inhale, 2. Exhale. Inhale, 3. Exhale. Inhale, 1 more. Exhale. And then inhale, gaze towards the front of the mat. Begin to walk the hands back. We're going to take the knees wide, sit the hips back and come into our child's pose now. Taking the hands forward, allowing the head to relax against the mat. So if you do need to take a block underneath the forehead here. Feeling that stretching in the side of the body. And just breathing here for 4. Two more breaths. Inhale, gaze towards the front of the room. Begin to walk the hands back, coming back into that tabletop position. And we're going to take the right foot in between the 2 hands at the front. So if you do need to use a block here, just to bring you up a level, so it's easier, to pull that foot in between the two hands at the front. Feel free to use a block, 2 blocks, it's completely up to you. Making sure the foot's underneath the knee, and begin to rock forward and back. I want you to engage the core here as well, so really plugging that belly button in, pulling the pelvic floor muscles up, remembering to breathe. And then option to stay here, or you can begin to take the hands onto the hips. Now when you do this, I want you to squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes so everything's engaged, keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Deep inhale, lift the crown tall. And as you exhale, pressing into that right heel, begin to move down towards the front of the mat. And you should feel a stretch on the left psoas muscle, so that left hip flexor. Staying here for 3 more breaths. Exhale. Inhale for 2. Exhale. Inhale 3. Exhale. Inhale 1 more. Exhale. Inhale, taking the hands down onto the mat, so taking the blocks here if you need to. We're going to move that right foot back, coming back into our tabletop position, and we're going to swap sides, so taking that left foot in between the 2 hands at the front, making sure the foot is directly under the knee, and then just begin to rock forward and back, so really opening up the hips here, engaging the core muscles, really plugging that belly button in, and then begin to squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes. Option to take the hands onto the hips. Deep inhale, lifting that crown tall, and as you exhale, pressing into that left heel, moving that knee towards the front of the mat, feeling that stretch on the right psoas muscle now. This is a great move if you're a runner or you do other exercises, or even if you just sit at a computer all day. We're going to stay here for 3 more breaths. Exhale. Squeezing the thighs, squeezing the glutes, keeping the hips square towards the front of the mat. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath. Deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale, taking the hands down towards the mat, stepping that left knee back, coming back into this tabletop position. Walking the hands forward slightly, we're going to move into our downward facing dog. So again, I just want you to make sure that the shoulders are externally rotated, so almost scooping up clouds in the sky so that they're in the hands. You'll notice that the shoulders are on the outsides. You're going to take the hands down towards the front, really rooting the hands down into the mat, pulling the triceps together, so the muscles on the back of the arms, untucking the toes at the back, lifting the hips up and back. And if you need to bend the knees here, we want the tailbone to reach towards the ceiling. You want the spine straight. Gaze towards the feet, engaging the core still. If you have the flexibility, you may take the heels towards the mat and then just begin to walk out the feet. Remembering to breathe. Inhale, gaze towards the front of the mat, keeping a bend in the knees. Begin to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. Taking the feet as wide as the mat this time, bending the knees. Allow the head and shoulders to relax. We're going to take opposite elbows. Then just begin to rock forward and back, allowing the head to relax. Breathing here. Keeping that belly button plugged in. Engaging them pelvic floor muscles, even when we're relaxing the rest of the body. And then inhale, bending the knees, watch the hands rise above the head. And as we exhale, taking the hands to the heart center, Samastitihi. We're going to run through a Surya Namaskar A, so the same as the other beginners class that we did. So bring the feet hip distance apart, engaging the thighs, the glutes, the core. We're going to inhale, take the hands above the head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gaze forward, taking the hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, allowing them head and shoulders to relax, taking the hands down to the mat, stepping the feet back into a plank position. So if you do need to come down onto the knees, come down onto the knees. Taking a deep inhale here, gaze towards the front. And as you exhale, moving down into your chaturanga, so elbows in towards the ribs. Inhale, upward facing dog, so squeezing the shoulder blades together. Exhale, downward facing dog. Staying here for 2 breaths. Exhale. Inhale for 2. Exhale. Inhale, gaze towards the front, bending the knees. Begin to walk towards the front of the mat. Hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees. Watch the hands rise above the head. Exhale, taking the hands to the heart center, Samastitihi. We're going to step the right foot towards the back of the mat this time, twisting that left foot so that both feet are facing the side. Engaging the core, tucking the tailbone in. Inhale, reach the crown up. We're going to come into a wide leg forward fold now. So if you do need to take a block underneath, if you can't quite reach the floor, take a block. I would rather you do this than injure yourself and bend the knees totally. So we're going to inhale, reaching the crown tall. As we exhale, keeping that tailbone tucked in, you're going to fold forward, engaging the core, taking the hands down so that the hands are just underneath the shoulders or slightly inwards if you do have a block. And then the elbows are going to bend towards the back of the room, allowing the head and shoulders to completely relax here. And you want the big toes pulling inwards. So you don't want the toes facing towards the side. You want them either in a nice straight line or pulling inwards slightly. Staying here for 5 breaths. Deep inhale, 1. Lengthening the spine, and as we exhale, we're going to move the head down towards the mat, really pressing the elbows towards the back of the room. Staying here for 4 more breaths. One more deep inhale. A long, soothing exhale. And then inhale, gaze towards the room, halfway lift. Exhale, taking the hands to the hips. As we inhale, press into the knees, coming up to stand. And as we exhale, taking that right foot to the front of the mat, Samastitihi. Running through another Surya Namaskar A. So inhale, taking the hands up towards the ceiling. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gaze towards the front, halfway lift. Exhale, taking the hands down to the mat, stepping the feet back into a plank position. Option to drop to the knees here. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. So really pressing the heels towards the back, engaging the glutes. So squeeze the glutes, squeeze the thighs. Pressing into the hands, keeping the shoulders away from each other. So not collapsing into the neck. 2 more breaths. Exhale. Inhale, gaze towards the front. As we exhale, we're going to move down into our chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Staying here for 2 breaths. Deep inhale. Exhale. Inhale for 2. Exhale. Inhale, gaze towards the front, bend the knees. Begin to walk the feet towards the front of the mat. Taking the hands to the shins, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, watch the hands rise. Exhale, taking the hands to the heart center, Samastitihi. Stepping that right foot to the side, making sure the toes are facing inwards. We're going to come into our wide-legged forward fold again. So if you do need the block, take the block. Tucking the tailbone under. Inhale, reach the crown towards the ceiling. And as we exhale, moving down, coming into that fold. Staying here for 5 breaths. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, plugging that belly button in, allow the head to fold towards the mat. 2 more breaths. Inhale, taking the gaze towards the front. Exhale, taking the hands to the hips. Inhale, bending the knees, coming up to rise. And as we exhale, taking that foot to the front of the mat, Samastitihi. Inhale, taking the hands above the head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, gaze forward, halfway lift. Exhale, pressing the hands down into the mat, coming back into that plank. Staying here for 2 breaths. So if you need to come down onto the knees, come down onto the knees. Inhale, gaze towards the front. And as we exhale, lowering down into our chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Squeeze them shoulder blades. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, roll forward into that plank position again. And as we exhale, lower down with control onto the belly. We're going to come into our back bends now. So coming into Sphinx pose, taking the hands out in front, making sure the hands are shoulder width apart. Pressing the back of the feet into the mat and begin to pull the shoulder blades together. Making sure that you're not moving into the neck, so hurting the neck here. The head should be relaxed. Staying here for 3 more breaths. One more deep inhale. And as we exhale, just allow the head to fall down towards the mat, taking the elbows wide. Coming into a shoulder stretch now. So we're going to take the left hand over to the left. Make sure it's still in line with the shoulder. So it looks like this. A nice straight line from the hand to the shoulder, but on the left side. And then you're going to press into that right hand and move over onto that left shoulder. Now, option to stay here. If you need to bend the knees, bend the knees. If you want a deeper stretch, you can straighten the left leg, begin to bend the right leg and just allow the foot to fall down onto the floor. Option to take this right hand over to the back and touch the left arm. And then just closing the eyes. Breathing into it, making sure that the shoulder is uncomfortable. You are moving into a stretch, but that you don't have any sharp pains. If you do, roll forward slightly. Coming back to that breath, coming back to that feeling of being present. Making sure the hands are relaxed. And then slowly begin to roll over onto the chest, using that right hand to guide. We're going to come into the same stretch on the opposite side. So take that right hand over to the right, gaze towards the left. Begin to roll over onto that right shoulder. Option to come into that deeper stretch if you can. Grab hold of the arm or touch the arm with that left hand. Closing the eyes. Breathing here, checking in with the hands. And then slowly taking that left hand down, rolling over onto the belly. Taking the hands underneath the shoulders, pressing up into our tabletop position, making sure the hands are underneath the shoulders and the knees are underneath the hips. We're going to come into some abs now. So really plugging that belly button in, engaging the glutes, engaging the thighs. Begin to take that right leg back, flexing the foot, so almost as though there's a wall behind you, and begin to twist the hips towards the left to make sure that they're still in line. Keeping the shoulders nice and relaxed. Staying here for 3. Really engaging the core, squeezing the thighs, squeezing the glutes. Inhale for 2. And 1. And then slowly taking that right knee down, taking that left leg towards the back, same thing. Squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes, twist the hips towards the right, making sure that they're aligned, meaning straight towards the front. You're not twisting over to one side. Staying here for 3. Keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale for 2. and 1. And then slowly moving the knees down. We're going to begin to walk the hands back, coming into the seated position, and then roll over onto the glutes, taking the feet out in front, lowering down onto the back. We're going to come into what's called a bridge pose now. So taking the feet in towards the glutes, making sure they are hip distance apart. We're going to press into the heels, lifting the hips up towards the ceiling, moving the shoulders underneath, an option to grab hold of the hands if you have that flexibility. Whilst we're in this pose, begin to move the knees towards each other, really squeeze the thighs, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the core. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths, pressing into the heels of the feet, feeling that bend in the back. Inhale for 2. Squeeze everything. Inhale for 3. And then slowly lowering the glutes down. Begin to move the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a big hug. Twisting from side to side. And then slowly moving into our twist. So our option here again is to take a block. Taking a block in between the knees if you need to. We're going to move the knees over to the right. If you do want a deeper twist, you can take the left knee over the right knee, twisting over to the right, just making sure that the hips are in line with the shoulder, and then moving the left hand over to the left, gaze towards that left hand. So the knees are towards the right, and the head and the hand are over to the left. Coming into that supine twist, just allow the body to relax, allow the lower back to twist. Coming back to that breath. And then slowly moving the knees in towards the centre. We're going to swap sides. If you did take a block in between the knees, the block in between the knees this time. Taking the deeper twist, if you took the deeper twist, so taking that right knee over the left knee, and then twisting the knees towards the left, hand to the right, gaze towards that right hand. Allowing the shoulder to relax, allowing the knees to relax, coming back to that breath. Coming back to that present moment, that feeling of not thinking about anything other than what you're doing right now. It really is a nice break from the constant chatter we're constantly feeling in the mind. One more breath here. And then slowly moving the knees back into the centre. Allowing the feet to fall towards the front of the mat, falling towards the side. We're going to come into our Shavasana now. So if you do need to take a blanket or a jumper, take a blanket or a jumper now. Put some music on, turn off the lights, completely up to you. I will be staying here for about a minute, so I do recommend that you turn off the recording and get at least 5 minutes before finishing the class. Allowing the hands to fall towards the side, palms facing the ceiling, relaxing the shoulders. And then slowly bringing some awareness back into the body. Wiggling the toes, the fingers. Rotating the ankles, the wrists. Taking the hands above the head, coming into a deep body stretch. Deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth side out. 2 more times. Deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. 1 more time. Deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. And then slowly bringing the knees back to centre, rolling over to the side, coming into a fetal position. Allowing the body to reawake. And then pressing yourself up, crossing the legs, coming into a seated position, taking the hands to the heart centre, bowing the head towards the heart. Taking this moment to find gratitude towards what you're capable of and for also showing up to today's practice. 80% of the journey is turning up onto the mat and pressing play. Once you're here, more often than not, you'll complete a session and you'll be so glad that you did by the end of it. It takes courage, it takes strength to turn up, to decide to make that change, but you've done that, so just feeling gratitude towards yourself for that, for the little things that can soon become great things in your life. Taking the hands to the middle of the eyebrows, bowing down, namaste.